most feared Mafia king in America, made the ultimate sacrifice. He erased a memory of the only woman who ever made him feel human. Damian Valenti was a name that carried power across the country. To his enemies, he was a nightmare they hoped they would never face. To his allies, he was a brilliant leader who could predict every move before it happened. He controlled businesses, influence, and a powerful underground empire built through intelligence, discipline, and fear. Damian never showed weakness. He believed emotions were dangerous because emotions gave enemies something to destroy. After years of betrayal and violence, he trained himself to remain cold, focused, and untouchable. But behind the reputation of the ruthless Mafia king was a man nobody knew, a man who wanted peace, a man who wanted a normal life, and a man who fell in love. Clara Bennett was everything Damian was not. She lived near a peaceful coastal town in California, far away from the dangerous world that surrounded him. She was intelligent, kind, and independent. Unlike everyone else who saw Damian as a powerful figure to fear, Clara saw the person hidden behind the name. She saw the exhaustion behind his silence. She saw the pain behind his strength. Most importantly, she was not afraid of him. For the first time in years, Damian trusted someone completely. With Clara, he experienced moments he never thought were possible. They walked along quiet beaches, escaped to hidden places where nobody knew their names, and dreamed about a future where Damian could leave his violent world behind. Clara became the one person who reminded him that he was still human. But the Mafia world never allowed happiness to last. Damian's enemies eventually discovered Clara's existence. They understood what nobody else had been able to see. The strongest man in America had one weakness: her. A dangerous war began between rival organizations, and Clara became the target. Every enemy Damian had ever created realized they could destroy him without attacking him directly. They only needed to hurt the woman he loved. Damian searched for every possible way to protect her, but every option led to the same painful truth. As long as Clara remembered him, she would never be safe. The only way to save her was to make her forget him completely. Damian made the most difficult decision of his life. Through a secret procedure, he erased Clara's memories of their relationship, their love, and the life they had planned together. When Clara woke up, she no longer remembered the man who had loved her more than anything. She looked at Damian like he was a stranger, and Damian was forced to watch the woman he loved lose every memory of him. He saved her life, but he destroyed his own heart. Years passed. Damian became even more powerful, but the emptiness inside him never disappeared. He had protected Clara from his world, but he could never escape the memory of the woman who once completed his. Then one day, Damian discovered something that shattered the peace he had created. Clara was getting married to another man, and she had no idea that the Mafia king watching from the shadows was once the love of her life. She forgot the man who saved her life, but her heart remembered something her mind could not. Years after Damian Valenti made the impossible sacrifice, Clara Bennett was living a life that looked nothing like the dangerous world she once belonged to. Far away from the chaos of the Mafia world, Clara built a new identity near a peaceful mountain lake in Colorado. Surrounded by tall pine forests, crystal clear water, and snow-covered peaks, her new home represented the safety Damian had always wanted for her. She had a quiet life, a stable career, a future that seemed normal. But something inside her always felt incomplete. Clara remembered her childhood, her family, and the ordinary moments before her life changed. She remembered everything except the years that mattered most, the years with Damian. The memories of the man who loved her more than anything had disappeared completely. To everyone around her, Clara was simply starting over. But deep inside, she carried a strange emptiness she could never explain. Sometimes she dreamed of a man whose face she could never clearly see. Sometimes certain places felt familiar, even though she had never visited them. Sometimes she felt a deep sadness without knowing the reason behind it. It was as if her heart was holding on to a story her mind had forgotten. During this new chapter of her life, Clara met Ethan Brooks. Ethan was successful, charming, and everything that represented a safe future. He came from a respectable background and offered Clara the peaceful life she believed she wanted. Unlike Damian's world of danger and secrets, Ethan's life seemed simple and secure. Clara convinced herself that this was enough. But emotions could not always be controlled by logic. Meanwhile, Damian watched Clara from a distance. He had kept his promise. She was safe. She was alive. She was free from the enemies who wanted to use her against him. But every time he saw her smile without remembering him, it reminded him of the greatest sacrifice he had ever made. Damian had protected her body, but he had lost her heart. Part of him wanted to restore her memories. He wanted Clara to remember the love they shared, the promises they made, and the life they almost had. But he knew the danger was not gone. The enemies who once hunted Clara were still searching for Damian. If her memories returned, the same people who wanted her gone would find her again. So Damian stayed away. He continued protecting her from the shadows, even though every moment apart destroyed him. But Clara slowly began discovering pieces of her forgotten past. A hidden letter, a familiar location, a symbol she could not explain. Each clue brought her closer to a truth she was never supposed to uncover. Ethan noticed a change. He saw the confusion in Clara's eyes and realized that part of her heart was somewhere else, with someone she could not remember. The night before her wedding, while searching through old belongings, Clara discovered something hidden inside a forgotten box, an old photograph. In the picture, Clara was standing beside a man with a familiar presence, and on her finger was a beautiful ring she had no memory of receiving. A forgotten love story was buried inside Clara Bennett's mind, waiting for the right moment to return. The photograph she discovered before her wedding changed everything. The image showed a version of herself she did not recognize, standing beside a man whose presence felt strangely familiar. The ring on her finger in the picture created questions that no one around her could answer. Clara began searching for truth. She started investigating old records, forgotten documents, and hidden pieces of her past. Every discovery revealed another part of life she could not remember. There were places she had visited, moments she had experienced, and promises she had made, all hidden away inside the missing years of her memory. But someone did not want those memories returning. Damian Valenti knew Clara was searching for answers, and for the first time in years he was afraid. Not because she would discover the truth about him, because discovering the truth could put her life in danger again. Damian tried to stop her from uncovering the secrets surrounding her forgotten past. He believed staying away was the only way to protect her. But every step Clara took toward the truth made it harder for him to remain hidden. As Clara continued searching, she discovered more about the relationship she once shared with Damian. Before everything changed, Damian was not just a powerful Mafia king. He was a man who wanted to escape the darkness surrounding him. Clara had been the reason he started questioning his own life. She showed him that strength was not only about control and fear. She showed him that a person could still choose kindness even after years of violence. Because of Clara, Damian had started imagining a future beyond the Mafia world. A future where he could finally be free. The search led Clara to a hidden forest mansion in Washington, a place surrounded by ancient trees, quiet rivers, and endless wilderness. The property once belonged to Damian and held memories that had been carefully hidden away. Inside the mansion, Clara began experiencing strange emotions. A hallway felt familiar. A room created a feeling of comfort. A voice recording brought tears to her eyes, even though she could not remember why. Her mind had forgotten Damian, but something deeper inside her still recognized him. From a distance, Damian watched as pieces of Clara's memories slowly returned. Every recovered moment brought happiness and pain at the same time. He wanted her to remember him, but he also feared what would happen if she did. Meanwhile, Ethan Brooks started questioning Clara's past. He noticed that the woman he planned to marry was searching for a life she could not remember, and he began realizing that someone else had existed in her heart before him. The deeper Clara investigated, the more disturbing the truth became. The memory loss was not only Damian's decision. Someone else had helped arrange it. Someone had wanted Clara removed from Damian's life permanently. For years, Clara believed her forgotten past was simply a tragedy caused by Damian's dangerous world. But the truth was far more painful. She began questioning whether the life she had built was based on a lie. And Damian finally understood the terrible consequence of his choice. He saved Clara from danger, but he also took away her right to choose. Then Clara uncovered the final hidden record that revealed the truth. Damian did not erase her memories because he stopped loving her. He erased them because someone was planning to kill her. The woman Damian Valenti loved was not only his weakness, she was the one person capable of destroying the enemies who controlled his life for years. After discovering the truth behind Clara's lost memories, Damian realized the danger was far greater than he imagined. The memory loss was never just about protecting Clara from his enemies. It was part of a much larger plan. A plan created by someone who knew Damian better than anyone. Someone he once trusted. Victor Kane had been Damian's closest ally for years. He was not just a business partner or a trusted member of his organization. Victor was a man who stood beside Damian when he built his empire and rebuilt his life after countless battles. Damian believed Victor was loyal, but loyalty can become the most dangerous illusion when it hides betrayal. Victor had secretly wanted control of Damian's entire empire. He knew Damian's greatest strength was also his biggest weakness. Clara. Victor discovered that Clara was the only person who knew the truth about Damian's past, his hidden plans, and the secrets that could expose Victor's ambition. As long as Clara remembered everything, Victor could never win. So he helped create the plan that erased her memories. He did not want Clara gone because she was unimportant. He wanted her forgotten because she was dangerous. Damian began investigating old evidence connected to Clara's memory procedure. With Clara's help, they uncovered hidden records that revealed Victor's involvement. The truth was painful. Damian had spent years protecting Clara from enemies outside his world, while the real threat had been standing beside him the entire time. Their search led them to a luxury desert resort in Arizona, surrounded by endless golden landscapes, ancient canyons, and peaceful views that hid years of secrets. Inside the private archives beneath the resort, Damian and Clara discovered evidence showing how Victor manipulated events from the beginning. He had used Damian's love for Clara against him. He had pushed Damian into making the one decision that would break his heart, erasing Clara's memories. As they worked together to expose Victor, something unexpected began happening. The connection between Damian and Clara started returning. Small moments reminded Clara of the life she lost, the way Damian protected her, the way he looked at her, the feeling that she was safe whenever he was near. Even without all her memories, her heart continued recognizing him. But Damian struggled with every step forward. Part of him wanted Clara to remember everything, the love, the promises, the life they almost had. But another part feared that bringing the past back would only put her in danger again. Clara faced her own impossible choice. She was preparing to leave behind the life she knew. Yet she could not ignore the powerful connection she felt with Damian. The man she was supposed to forget was becoming the person she understood the most. Together, they prepared to expose Victor and end the threat that followed them for years. But Victor was watching, and when he discovered that Clara's memories were slowly returning, he realized his first plan had failed. This time, he would not let her remember the truth. Victor decided Clara would lose her memories forever. She was standing beside another man, ready to begin a new life, when the memories of the man she truly loved came rushing back. Clara Bennett's wedding day was supposed to represent a fresh beginning. At a beautiful vineyard estate in Italy, surrounded by endless green hills, golden sunlight, and rows of ancient grapevines, everything looked perfect. The location was peaceful, elegant, and exactly what Clara once believed she wanted. But inside, something felt wrong. As she stood preparing to marry Ethan Brooks, Clara could not ignore the strange feeling in her heart. She cared about Ethan, but a part of her felt like she was walking into a future that belonged to someone else. She smiled for the guests. She accepted the congratulations. But deep inside, she felt like she was forgetting something important, something she was never supposed to lose. Meanwhile, Damian Valenti watched from a distance. He had promised himself he would not interfere with Clara's new life. Even though every part of him wanted to stop the wedding, he believed loving her meant respecting her choice. But seeing her standing beside another man reminded him of the sacrifice he made years ago. He saved her life, but he lost the woman he loved. As the wedding ceremony continued, an unexpected moment changed everything. A hidden piece of Clara's past appeared. An old family record connected to the vineyard revealed information about the years she had forgotten. The moment Clara touched the document, memories that had been buried for years began returning. Not slowly, not gently, all at once. She remembered Damian. She remembered the man who protected her when the world wanted to destroy her. She remembered the quiet moments away from danger, the promises they made, the life they dreamed about. Most importantly, she remembered the truth. Damian never abandoned her. He never stopped loving her. He erased himself from her memory because he believed losing her was better than watching her die. The realization broke Clara's heart. The man she spent years trying to understand was the same man who sacrificed everything so she could survive. Across the vineyard, Damian saw the change in her expression. For the first time in years, he saw recognition in her eyes. She remembered him, but happiness quickly turned into fear. Damian realized the woman he had just found again could be taken away from him once more. Clara walked toward him, carrying years of forgotten emotions and unanswered questions. She finally understood that the stranger she thought she lost was actually the person who had loved her the most. Ethan discovered the truth as well. He realized Clara's heart had always belonged to someone else, someone whose existence had been hidden from her. The peaceful wedding became a moment filled with impossible choices. Clara stood between two lives, the safe future she had built with Ethan, and the forgotten love she had never truly stopped feeling for Damian. Before Clara could make her choice, before she could finally decide where her heart belonged, the peaceful vineyard was suddenly interrupted by danger. The enemy Damian feared most had arrived, and the wedding that was supposed to begin a new life became the battlefield, where everything could be destroyed. Damian Valenti lost Clara Bennett once to protect her, but this time he was ready to lose everything to save her. The peaceful vineyard wedding turned into chaos within seconds. The enemy Damian had spent years fighting finally revealed themselves. What was supposed to be a celebration became a carefully planned attack designed to destroy the one thing Damian had fought hardest to protect. Clara. Damian moved without hesitation. The man who once erased himself from Clara's life to keep her safe now stood in front of her, willing to risk everything. He no longer cared about his empire, his reputation, or the power he had built. The only thing that mattered was keeping Clara alive. But Clara was no longer the same woman Damian had protected years ago. She was not helpless. She was not someone who needed to hide behind him. After regaining her memories, Clara understood the danger surrounding them. She knew the world Damian came from, and instead of running away, she chose to stand beside him. The woman who once knew nothing about Damian's world became the person who understood it better than anyone. Together, they escaped the attack and disappeared into the remote snowy mountains of Montana. Surrounded by frozen forests, towering peaks, and endless white landscapes, the isolated location gave them temporary safety from their enemies. But the danger was far from over. Inside a hidden mountain cabin, Damian and Clara continued searching for final evidence against Victor Kane. Every document revealed another piece of the betrayal. Every secret exposed another reason why Victor wanted Clara forgotten. As they investigated, Damian struggled with the guilt he had carried for years. He believed erasing Clara's memories was the only way to save her. But now he understood the painful truth. Protecting someone does not always mean making choices for them. Sometimes protection means trusting them enough to choose for themselves. Clara knew Damian acted out of love, not cruelty. She understood the impossible position he was placed in, but she also needed him to understand something important. Love could not survive without honesty. She forgave him for taking away her memories, but she demanded the truth from that moment forward. No more secrets. No more decisions made without her. For the first time, Damian accepted that Clara was not his weakness. She was his equal. Together, they uncovered more information connecting Victor to the larger conspiracy. They discovered hidden accounts, secret meetings, and evidence that could finally destroy Victor's entire operation. Their bond became stronger because they were no longer fighting for each other separately. They were fighting together. But just when Damian believed they were close to ending the nightmare, one final document appeared inside the hidden files. The information was connected directly to Victor's first betrayal. Damian opened the record expecting to find another enemy. Instead, he found a name that made his entire world stop. The person controlling Victor Kane was someone Damian believed had died years ago. The Mafia king built an empire through fear, but he was willing to destroy everything he created to protect the one woman who brought him back to life. After discovering the shocking truth about Victor Kane's hidden controller, Damian Valenti knew the final battle had arrived. For years, enemies had manipulated events from the shadows. They destroyed families, created wars, and controlled people through secrets. But now Damian finally understood the full picture. The person responsible was not just trying to take his empire. They were trying to erase every person who stood in their way. Damian, Clara, and their allies followed the final evidence to an ancient castle overlooking the Scottish coastline. Surrounded by powerful ocean waves, towering cliffs, and centuries-old stone walls, the castle had become the meeting place for the people who controlled the hidden world behind the conflict. But this time, the secrets would not remain buried. Inside the castle, Damian finally faced the person responsible for years of destruction. The mastermind behind everything was someone connected to Damian's past. Someone who knew his family, understood his weaknesses, and used his pain to control his choices. The truth revealed a devastating plan. The Mafia wars, the betrayals, Clara's memory loss, and the attacks against Damian were all connected. The mastermind wanted Damian emotionally broken and completely alone, because a man without trust was easier to control. But they made one mistake. They underestimated Clara. She was no longer the woman who needed protection. She was a woman who stood beside Damian when the entire world turned against him. Clara helped expose the hidden evidence that destroyed the enemy's empire. She revealed the secrets that powerful people had spent years protecting and proved that she was never Damian's weakness. She was the reason he survived. As the truth reached the world, the empire built on lies began collapsing. Secret alliances disappeared. Powerful figures lost their influence. The people who believed they could control Damian finally understood that fear was not stronger than the truth. For a moment, Damian stood face to face with the person who caused so much pain. The anger inside him returned. He remembered everything he lost. His family, his years with Clara, the life they could have had. But this time, Damian was different. He no longer wanted revenge. He wanted justice. He chose to end the cycle that had destroyed so many lives before him. With the conspiracy exposed and the enemy defeated, Damian and Clara finally had the chance to live without running, hiding, or fearing what would happen next. For the first time, Damian realized that love did not make him weak. It gave him a reason to become better. Clara had not returned to his life to save the Mafia king. She returned to remind him that there was still a man behind the power. But after the victory, while reviewing the final files recovered from the castle, Damian discovered one last hidden document, a record connected to the memory procedure performed on Clara years ago. The information inside revealed something impossible. The procedure had not only erased Clara's memories, it had left behind another hidden consequence that could change their future forever. The Mafia king erased her memories to save her, but he never erased the love that connected them. After years of secrets, betrayal, and danger, Damian Valenti finally reached the moment he had spent his entire life searching for: peace. The enemies who once controlled his world were gone. The hidden organizations that destroyed families and manipulated lives were exposed. The war that followed Damian for years had finally ended. But Damian knew victory was not measured by the people he defeated. It was measured by the person who stayed beside him when everything was over: Clara Bennett. After the final battle, Damian began rebuilding his empire into something completely different. The organization that was once controlled by fear became focused on protection, stability, and legitimate businesses. For years, Damian believed power was the only thing keeping him alive. Now he understood that power without purpose meant nothing. He no longer wanted to be remembered as the Mafia king everyone feared. He wanted to be remembered as the man who protected the people he loved. Clara also created a new future for herself. She stopped running from a forgotten past and accepted every part of her story. The years she lost with Damian would always hurt, but she no longer saw them as stolen moments. They were proof of a love powerful enough to survive even when memories disappeared. Together, Damian and Clara moved to a peaceful lakeside estate surrounded by forests, mountains, and endless natural beauty. Far away from the violence and secrets of their old lives, the quiet location gave them something they never had before: A normal life. For Damian, the silence felt strange at first. He had spent years watching for enemies, preparing for betrayal, expecting the worst from everyone around him. But now, he woke up beside the woman he once believed he had lost forever, and he finally understood something he never believed possible. Love had never been his weakness. It was the reason he became stronger. Clara showed Damian that a person could change without losing who they were. The man who once ruled through fear became someone who protected through loyalty and compassion. Their relationship was no longer based only on memories from the past. It was built on the choices they made every day. That was what made their love different. It survived the impossible. It survived distance. It survived betrayal. It survived forgetting. Damian once believed losing Clara was the price he had to pay to keep her alive. But Clara proved something he never expected. Real love is not stored only inside memories. It survives in the heart. The woman who forgot the Mafia king became the woman who helped him find himself again. The woman who once lost her past helped Damian build a better future. And in the end, the greatest victory was not defeating enemies or protecting an empire. It was finding the one person who could see beyond the name, the power, and the fear. She remembered the love eventually, but even before her memories returned, her heart had already known the truth, because some connections are stronger than memory, some promises survive time, and some loves are impossible to erase.